I had a breakup, and at the end of this breakup, I decided that I was going to go back to doing something that I absolutely love to do. That, not that he asked me not to do, but I noticed because he didn't like it, I didn't do it as much, and it's something that I absolutely love to do. Just wear lipstick. And I love lipstick. So I decided that it didn't matter if I had somewhere to go or if it was 1:15 a.m. and I came for the reflection that I could put on some lipstick, because despite what anybody says, I love the way I look in lipstick. I identify with lipstick colors. This is one of my favorites. I don't really wear this brand anymore, but there are certain colors that hues I can only get here. Heroin is one of them, my favorite. So, welcome to day 24 of this 90-day reset, if you will. We're digging in a little bit every day. I like to watch the guy, they call him Spidey. I think he worked for one of those government agencies. I try not to mention them all that much. And he analyzes behavior. And I always said that I wanted to interview him because I want him to, analyze my behavior, because I have so many quirks. And I would love to know what my face says, because every time I'm engaged in something, my face, I don't have to say a word because my face is just like, she's just talking away. So I'm not a good spy. I don't blend in all that well. And welcome back again to this space. This is going to be a little bit different of a session. I can already tell. I feel the energy shift, and I just want to be transparent about that. I almost didn't come back tonight. That's how I'm doing. I almost didn't come back tonight, and it was until I got a phone call earlier, and I just was real transparent about where I was. And not that I had some expectation of where I would be by this point. I've always exceeded any expectations that I've had, but I didn't set any. I'm really here genuinely in this place of wanting to grow and develop and lean into what it is that I say that I'm doing. And then I started to second guess myself. Like, Toya, what are you doing? Like, I'm actually speaking the vision out loud now. And the fact that I can articulate it in this way about what I'm actually up to, it frightened me a little bit, to be honest and transparent. And then when I had this phone call, she said, go post a video. And so I posted day 23 much later than I intended to, but it was done. And I just decided not to judge myself. I just decided not to place any additional burdens on myself. And I went and posted it. And then I did everything that I normally do for the rest of the evening up until this moment here, which was come back in after I got off the phone with my sissy. inside that conversation, I also had the opportunity to look at where I am over carrying things. And right now, because of the situation with my mom, I'm not working a 9 to 5 job, of course, and I am developing, rebranding this business. And what that looks like to my family and friends is, Shatoya, go get a job. And it just hasn't worked out. And so I know that this is also a space for me to get back into the swing of talking to people in this way, in a conversational way, in a agreement, in a intention, in a way that supports learning on both parts, active learning. But I also expressed to my sister that, my sissy, that this is very difficult because I am creating my own lane. Not that there aren't other people out here promoting transformation, but no one is quite doing it the way that I am doing it. And so I'm having to, what feels like, create a lane for myself, create a lane that drives the importance of our willingness to abandon what we thought we knew about who we are and to really dive into what's actually there and available. And the lens from which that comes from has everything to do with our spirituality, has everything to do with the intention and the choices that we're consciously making. It has everything to do with our consciousness. And so I get that that is a big idea. And I am still very much aware that the real reason for me to continue to put forth this energy and this effort is in order to grow an aspect of me that I've been developing for such a long time. And this just feels like a natural next step. So all of that came up for me today. I usually don't share that in depth. So that's why I was saying this energy is a little bit different, where I've had to really be honed in on how these nuances from this class are showing up. And I say this class, but it's 90-day journey is showing up in a way that I'm actually having to live the steps of what it is that we're talking about. Exhaustion as identity today. So if you're still here, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a moment to separate yourself from the rest of the world and to get really solid and clear that you were going to take the next 20 to 30 minutes of your day to engage in something that's going to open up a valve inside of you to enhance, refine, restore, renew your understanding of who you are and what it is that you're up to on a day-to-day basis and who you're being while you're in it. And thank you for continuing to come into this space and making that a daily habit for yourself to take a minute. So, how are you feeling? Good. Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. I see it happening for you. I see it happening for you. Do you see it happening for yourself? It's incredible. It's incredible. How's your body feeling? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, what I know is that when we're intentional about what it is that we're up to and how we're feeling, and really taking a concentrated approach, if you will, to seeing about ourselves. Like, I have had that little twinge in my back for a little bit. Maybe I should go out there and get myself a massage. Find me a good masseuse. Paying attention. And that's where I wanted to check on you to see where you were going. I see how you were doing. And I know you're doing great. So the piece that we're talking about tonight is our exhaustion as our identity. And this really resonated with me in everything that like I'm up to, that I'm tapping into, because I when I come in here at the end of the night, sometimes I am exhausted. Sometimes I have done so many things throughout the course of the day that this time is like a reflection time. This is like, instead of me journaling and wishing that there was someone that I could talk to, I actually make a concerted effort to create a space where there are people that I'm talking to. And sometimes at the end of the night, I feel like, well, how have I overcarried any of this today, right? And so when I get down to it and like really creating the plan, I'm looking for my notebook. You can tell I'm looking for something. I see my pen, but I don't see my notebook. It's probably in my book bag. But the actual detail of the plan is what supports me in coming back. It's what supports me in not feeling like I'm overcarrying, because I know what I'm doing is very specific to the goal that I have in mind for myself. So when I think about if I'm using exhaustion as a part of my identity, a lot of times I am, because you can tell, like, sometimes it's just been so much and I'll like physically put my hands on my head. This is why I'm saying the thing about Spidey too, because I noticed this in the characteristics of my own personal exhaustion. So get that clear about how you show up when you're exhausted. I look at my videos and I see myself, I'm like, it looks like I'm always in thought, like there's something always on my mind. And it is always something on my mind. And so I look at that also about how it shows up in my nervous system. What are the things that I do to hold this space of exhaustion in a way that energetically is taxing to my body, right? So how do I overcarry that? How is that a part of my identity every day? And how do I, one, take notice of it, but two, create a plan around it so that I am not leaning into that as my identity? I would rather my identity be rested, relaxed, right? But I've like ticked off the things that are going on right now that may carry additional stress, right? I'm working inside of my business. My whole family probably thinks that I should get a job immediately. I call this the part of my business plan and growing and expanding what it is that I'm creating and the vision that I see for myself that I have been given, right? That's my responsibility regardless to what anybody else thinks. However, that can be very taxing and very strenuous when you don't feel completely supported, right? Because there's something that has to be pumped out at all times when you're in business, called revenue, right? And that's the tagline. That's the area that everyone is like, produce, 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 produce. However, you also have a compartment called, you're taking care of your mom. You get to do this. I say, not that I have to, I get to be in position for my mom when she needs me. I have a son that's getting ready to go to college. If anybody ever heard of financial aid, that is a real stressor. So how do I navigate keeping my composure with all of the outside stressors that I have, and not creating too many on my own, not using that exhaustion as my identity to really build a system around it? So what do I do every day? I don't because I'm just getting back, I haven't I'm gonna grab this, y'all. I haven't started lighting my candles or dressing my candles yet, but I promised you all that I would share with you my spiritual practices. And so I was in the store the other day and saw these candles. They're 3-day candles, so I'll burn it in the new moon energy. And this one is for prosperity. And I will write my prosperity intentions on here, taking the torch from my goddess sister Lala, goddess Lala, the goddess Lala. Forgive me, mama. And I'm gonna dress this with some cinnamon and some bay leaves and write my prosperity intentions here to keep the energy going. I meditate several times a day. I can't say it's just one time. Several times a day, I do my best to get into a space of complete calm and relaxation, if you will, which usually doesn't necessarily end up being as elegant as it sounds. I go outside to the water with my blanket and I sit and I listen to the wind and the water around me and the birds. And that's how I stay grounded and stay connected. I also journal a lot. And then when I am working, I'm working. And what my work looks like could be geared with my mother, specifically my son, myself, or my businesses, or things that I need to take care on the private side, like planning, putting things in place, planning classes, putting calendars out, like working, right? And so I don't feel like that's over carrying. I don't feel like with that plan, I get to lean into my exhaustion, but I do get to acknowledge it. I get to acknowledge where I am in this state. I hope everything that I'm saying to you makes sense. I hope that you can see through this mirror where your exhaustion shows up, how it shows up, and who you're being inside of it. This is what I mean in the language that I'm using. So I understand that this is maybe very new to people. This is for people who are in their beginning stages of their transformation, as well as those who have been in their transformation for a long time. Everyone is experiencing the same level of accountability and ownership at any point in time in their ascension. This is the space to understand and own that. So there is a area of language when you're learning something new that has to be teased out, if you will. Even if we all think we understand, let's get a clearer picture of what it is that we personally understand as the truth as it relates to these terms, be it exhaustion, be it identity, be it overcarry, be it patterns, right? There's a certain language being built. So as long as we can follow one another, and as long as we are operating on the accord of oneness and infinite understanding, I would say divine understanding, then I know that we are walking on the same path. And I'm grateful that you continue to come back and be in space and time inside of that path. And I really offer you the opportunity to look. Look. Excuse me. look at where you're at. See how you're doing. And remember to check in with your body. And if you're still here in this space right now, thank you. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment inside the comments. And if you're ready to journey and take a deep dive into what is actually available to you through your own personal self-mastery, please schedule an appointment with me on my calendar. Your clarity call is an absolute I want to say gift. It's an absolute gift from me to you. And I hope that you accept the access to the energy, to the space, and make a choice for yourself. If this is something that you want to continue to grow into your own personal transformation. Yes, y'all, I feel it. Like this is a part of my exhaustion identity, right? I don't care nothing. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do what I'm doing, but at the same time, I've got to work this thing out in real time. So it's right behind my ear. So let me give you all a real life example of what I do in these times. Let's see if I have one here. Guasha, yes, and say, let me see. This is something else that I have. I've got to find it. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so this is oil that I use for relaxation. It is Riven Sarah oil. I think I got this one in the health food stores, but I smelled this as aromatherapy. I might put some on my hands. There's some in there, I'm telling you. But if not, that's fine. I don't think there's anything else in there. Put that away. And I usually have some babawa oil with a little frankincense. I showed you all this before. I have the babawa oil in my bathroom, but in the myrrh. And I put this all together. And I'll put some on my face. And I'll use the gua sha and massage myself. Just like take a minute and do it through the course of the day. And this, excuse me, it drains the fluid from your face and from your lymph. And I do it 3 to 5 times depending on, how much I need it. But it's really relaxing for me and a way for me to feel better immediately, if you will, when I'm feeling in that lane of exhaustion. Also, like rubbing the base of my neck is releasing some fluids. I can just feel it. So these are things that I've learned to do over the course of time for myself that really support my nervous system through all of these shifts and changes that we are all constantly going through, and that we sometimes neglect to listen to our body. So while I'm here in this learning, teaching, engaging environment, I don't mind sharing with you why I do what I do, but I also understand that it comes across as quirky or whatever the case may be, whatever that term is used. But Spidey, when I get to interview you, I want the full tea on what you notice about me when you go through these videos, okay? I'm so excited about all the opportunities that are coming up, y'all. I just keep speaking the things into life, into our cipher, because it's so important that we continue to grow our minds, grow what's possible. We do not have to stay in any sort of status quo. We really have access to our imagination and to growing through the lens of our imagination. We are the co-creators on this earth. Do not let anybody tell you anything any different. If you don't know nothing else about yourself, know that you are co-creating your existence every day, and you have a choice to make. And inside of your choice, you get to choose exactly who you're being, exactly who you're going to be. And don't let anybody tell you that that's not what's happening. You have to go and apply for the positions that you want, right? If you're going to go get a job, you get to choose. No one's choosing for you, right? I'm not a person that believes in you not having what you want. No matter where you come from, where you go is based on your ability to use your imagination and take yourself there and be willing to go. Making the best possible choices that you can with the information that you have in the now moment. And in the meantime, being willing to gather more information, become more wise, more sturdy in your decision making, so that you are not exhausted by trying to outrun life. Thank you for continuing to choose yourself. Thank you for sharing with someone else the journey that you're on. And thank you for bringing them with you. Thank you for providing me with the feedback that I need in order to continue to grow myself, this channel, this platform, this language, this way of being. And this way of being the way of through clarity and transparency. Authenticity, if you will. Some people are struggling with that term right now, and I'm gonna leave it where it's at, but you all know what I mean by not having to be anyone else at any point in time in your life, to end the world of code switching, to let that die with this patriarchy conversation. That's what we're talking about. And we're doing so at a transgenerational level. Let's not leave that out. This is something that is meant to transform your DNA from whatever you think, whatever, I say transform, but it's really to awaken, for us to really own the magic that we are as women, as melanated women, as women of the diaspora. That's what I'm after. That's really what gets me excited. I'm grateful for this space, and thank you for today. Thank you for allowing me to express myself. And I will be back on tomorrow for day 25. And I wanted to say this before I leave, that it does take 21 days to create a habit, but it takes commitment to move beyond that 21 days. And without the commitment and without the atonement is what's coming up, then no matter how many 21 day steps you take, you're still going to have to develop that area. You can still quit after 21 days, but it will be your choice not to. It will be your divine choice to continue to keep going. Keep going. I know you can do it, and I'm rooting for you, and I'm counting on your progress. Be well. See you tomorrow.